There is a silence spreading across the modern world. It isn't the silence of peace. It is the silence of empty nurseries. It is the silence of playgrounds that are slowly rusting because there are no children to play in them. We are watching the slow motion collapse of society, and it just doesn't seem like anybody who's in charge has the guts to admit why it's happening. They want to tell you, oh, it's a lifestyle choice. They want to write think pieces about how millennials and Gen Z are just choosing to be selfish, or that they prefer travel and avocado toast over stability. They're lying to you. We aren't seeing a cultural shift. We are seeing a biological collapse caused by an economic system that has turned the creation of life into a luxury product for the rich. For the first time in human history, the basic biological imperative to grow up, find a mate, and have a family has been priced out of reach for the average person. And here's the terrifying truth that everyone just seems to be ignoring. You can't have a society without families. You can't have a future if you don't have children. When you make it mathematically impossible for young people to settle down, you aren't just hurting the economy. You're pulling a pin on a demographic grenade that is going to blow up this entire system. Let's look at the deal we were offered, the social contract. See, it used to be simple. You worked hard, you contribute to society, and in exchange, you get to afford a roof over your head. And you earn enough money to support a family. You get a stake in the future. Well, that deal has been shredded. It has been burned. They turned housing, the most basic necessity for starting a family, into a speculative asset class. They allowed BlackRock and Vanguard and foreign investors to buy up the neighborhoods where you were supposed to raise your kids. They turned them into rental portfolios. They turned this dream that people had to have a house, the white picket fence, the kids, they turned that into a monthly subscription service. How are you supposed to have a family when one bedroom apartment costs 60% of your income? How are you supposed to plan for a child when you are one layoff algorithm away from being homeless? You can't. So young people are opting out, not because they want to, but because they have to. I would know, I'm one of them. We are the first generation in history that is being forced to choose between survival and reproduction. And the people who got all the money, the economists, the others, they look at the collapsing birth rates and they scratch their heads. They say, oh man, why aren't they consuming? Why aren't they making new workers for us? Because you broke the machine. You got so much wealth from the youth that you starved the roots of the tree. And now you're just so shocked that the leaves are dying. But the tragedy isn't just about lonely people in empty apartments. The tragedy is what comes next. If you open up a history book, you'll find a statistic that appears over and over again. It is the single most reliable predictor of war, revolution, and societal collapse. It's not famine, it's not the plague, it's the surplus of young, military-aged men with no prospects, no families, and no stakes in the future. When a young man has a wife and children, a home, he's stable. He's invested in peace because he's got something to protect. He wants the system to work because the system keeps his family safe. But when you take that away, when you tell a generation of men that no matter how hard they work, they will never own a home, that they will never be able to have a family, that they will die alone in a rented pod, you have removed the only thing keeping the chaos at bay. You are creating millions of men who have absolutely nothing to lose. And when men got nothing to lose, they're dangerous. They are the fuel for revolutions. They are the soldiers for warlords. They are the ones who burn the city down because they don't own any of the buildings in it. See, these people who got this world, these rich folks and these other people, they think that they can just distract us with video games and bad things on the internet and cheap dopamine. They think they can sedate an entire generation into going quietly into the night. They're wrong. The way we were designed is way stronger than an algorithm. The instinct to build a legacy doesn't just go away. If you can't create, then you might want to destroy. And it's not just the economy, it's the culture that's been engineered. Look at how we meet. They took the most human experience, romance, and they gamified it. They turned it into a slot machine. Dating apps are not designed for you to find love. They are designed to keep you single. They are designed to harvest your attention and sell it to advertisers. They have monetized your loneliness. They convinced young women that a career was more important than a family, only to pull up the ladder so that the career pays peanuts anyway. They convince young men that women are the enemy, pushing them into dark corners of the internet instead of building communities. They turned men and women against each other. They made us competitors in a marketplace instead of partners in life. And now, guess what we got? The loneliest society in human history. We got millions of people screaming into the void of the internet, desperate for connection, but completely unable to find it in the real world because the third places like bowling alleys, community centers, coffee shops, they've all been bulldozed to build luxury condos that nobody can afford. So now where does this lead? It leads to the end. Not the end of the world, but the end of this world. A society that can't reproduce itself is a society that's already dead. It just hadn't fallen over yet. You can't import enough people to fix a broken culture. You can't print enough money to replace a missing generation. The pension systems are going to collapse because there are no young workers to pay for them. The housing market is going to collapse because there's nobody left to buy the boomers' McMansions. The healthcare system is going to collapse because there's nobody left to care for the elderly. We are heading into a demographic winter. But again, there's a strange hope in this. Because the system, this greedy, extraction-based anti-human machine deserves to collapse. A system that eats its own young does not deserve to survive. You know, things are gonna get balanced. Life has a way of correcting imbalances. And if the current society is hostile to life, then the current society will be replaced by one that values it. The future belongs to the people who figure out how to build families despite the collapse. Because guess what's gonna happen? The collapse is gonna take place, but people are still gonna be around. Wise people, smart people, people who love the truth. And that future that will come belongs to those people who reject all this foolishness, all this consumerism, this hustle culture, and they prioritize the real purpose and meaning in life. That will lead them to being able to find a partner and create a legacy, to find a husband or a wife and create a legacy, to be able to build their own houses and live in them, to be able to have transportation that they can afford. Because here's the thing, you're not about to price out love. You can't price that out. And trust me when I tell you, the rebellion that will happen, not by humans, the rebellion that will bring an end to this world, it's not even going to be a rebellion. It's not even going to be a revolution. It's going to be a reset. And it's going to bring life back to where it was supposed to be anyway. It's not going to feed this system. It's going to replace this system. Thanks for watching.